after the absolutely appalling tragedy in Houla. I think this calls attention to the even more imperative, even more absolute need to bring an end to violence, and that the parties, that is to say both the government and the opposition forces in Syria, stop these senseless killings. I think what happened in Houla was really absolutely horrible. And let us not forget that there are also now some terrorist groups which are operating in Syria with agendas of their own, and really this is an element of added risk for our brave people, whom, as you know, are now practically at the 300 mark, give maybe a few individuals, give or take. They are deployed in 8 cities altogether and will shortly be deployed in 11 cities. And they do patrols. I saw that through my own eyes a week ago when I was in Syria. Under very difficult circumstances, let me say again, but at least where they go, they do help mitigate the level of violence. I think their presence certainly dampens the violence. They request, they demand that heavy weapons be pulled back, which is complied with in most circumstances. Of course, the violence has not stopped. This is why it is incumbent upon the Syrians now to see where they want to go, whether they should not stop bloodshed altogether and work solidly towards the implementation of the 6-point plan. Joint Special Envoy Kofi Annan, as you know, was in Syria yesterday and today. We are waiting for a more complete readout on his talks, but I believe he gave a press conference in Damascus an hour ago, so we shall all be looking at that, but sorry, it's a bit in real time. But I think the goal is very clear. We have to proceed and to advance now solidly on all the plans of that of Mr. Annan, because simply there is no alternative. There is no other game. Nobody has come out with any other plan. This is the one that we support, the one that we work for. You see, when bullets are fired into an armored car, there's no signature on the bullets. Certainly, it is a fact that there have been attacks, presumably from both sides, but you cannot, establish with absolute certainty which side is responsible. But I do believe that over the series of incidents, both sides have had some responsibility. And my message in Damas last week, in Damascus, was both to the government and to the opposition, and also to some sheikhs, tribal chiefs I met. I said, please spread the word. The safety of these unarmed observers depends on you. They are there to do a task, but they are not there to get shot at.
Edie.
Mr. Ladsous, 2 questions. First, the number of victims from Houla, to your understanding, is it still 108, or has the number gone up? And looking in terms of where we are with the 6-point peace plan, many people would look at what happened in Houla and say, this isn't working. I know you started out saying it's the only game in town, there is no plan B. But what actually can the UN do and the observers do, since, as you rightly said, there are relatively few of them compared to the vast areas of Syria?
On the first point, yes, for the time being, the mission, UNSMIS, reported 108 people killed. I did see a report from a local opposition committee claiming 116. plus I think something like 300 people injured. But I think we do not know more at this stage. Now, the 6-point plan. I think, in so much as, let me say again, where our observers are, there is a reduction in violence. There is normally no more use of heavy weapons. So, in that sense, I think one can say that the very presence of our blue helmets saves human lives. People who simply have not been killed or maimed or injured because the government forces were not able to use howitzers or mortars because, again, our people were on the ground. This being said, we need to achieve progress on all points of the plan, and certainly, and this is a point that I made last week, that Kofi Annan made also, the issue of access to detainees, the issues of allowing peaceful demonstrations, the issue of the access of journalists, which, by the way, seems to be increasing somewhat. We need to achieve progress on all this. And, of course, we need to achieve progress on what is at the core of the 6-point plan, which is why it's all been put together in the first place. That is the peace process, the political process. But it's an ongoing task, I would say a thankless task. But let me say again, though, there is no other plan, no plan B.